Well, welcome back, folks. First, Barack Obama weaponized the FBI against political foes. Now, Joe Biden appears to be doing just that as well. At least, that is what Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz declares, and it's hard not to believe him. The constant leaks about the investigation that Gaetz sex-trafficked a minor is troubling. Federal agents should not be leaking details about someone not charged with anything. We still don't even have an accuser in all of this. And though no charges have been filed, after 2 months since this all came out, salacious details being leaked about Gaetz over and over again to the press, we get another leak that Congressman Gaetz is being investigated for obstruction of justice. That might sound familiar, by the way. This is a charge that has a history of being used as the last-ditch attempt to convict a political foe when nothing else sticks. Remember President Trump's advisor, Paul Manafort? They got him on obstruction of justice. Trump aide George Papadopoulos, too. And how about Roger Stone? Add him to the list of those convicted of obstruction of justice. All of them were pardoned by President Trump. Why? Because the charges were bogus. Here's the deal. This is how the feds operate. Simply talk to a potential witness. If they want you behind bars and out of the spotlight, they will hit you with obstruction. Then bring the case before a liberal judge and hope you make a plea. Well, unlike most people under federal investigation, Matt Gaetz continues to fight back and fight back hard. Joining me now to discuss this is Republican Congressman of Florida, Matt Gaetz. Congressman, great to see you again.
Oh, thanks for having me, Grant. I've spent my entire career pursuing justice. I don't obstruct justice. The only thing I've obstructed is the injustice, oftentimes at the hands of the Department of Justice, directed at President Trump in my role as a member of the House Judiciary Committee. In about 14 hours, Grant, I will be sitting next to Congressman Jim Jordan, and we will be conducting a deposition of Don McGahn, the former White House counsel under President Trump. That's right, House Democrats are bringing him back tomorrow because they're trying to make a criminal case for obstruction of justice against Donald Trump still. And so, do you think it's a coincidence that NBC News is now citing a law enforcement source that claims that I have somehow obstructed justice? This is a way to make the process serve as the punishment. And that's why I'm continuing to serve in my role in the House Judiciary Committee. I'm continuing to oversee the activities of the Department of Justice and the FBI to ensure that our fellow Americans aren't subjected to a government that in any way mistreats them.
So, Matt, the leak says, and I am troubled by the amount of leaks. No one should be subject to this. You're entitled to a presumption of innocence, at least by law enforcement, that you talk to a potential witness. You know who they're talking about?
Listen, Grant, I wish I could tell you all the people in my life that I interact with and talk to who've been a part of my life at different intervals. But unfortunately, with the way the media has scrubbed my life, threatened my friends, it's hard to talk about who I even interact with because it makes those folks targets. I've even had circumstances where people who've never dated me, never had any romantic or social interaction with me, just a professional interaction, have been threatened by reporters saying, well, if you don't say something negative about Matt Gaetz, then we'll find something negative about you to report. And so I don't want to make my friends or anyone I've spoken with for any reason subject to that type of harassment. But I can say I know every conversation I've been a part of. I have never obstructed justice. I've never gotten close to it. And I believe this is an effort to try to cloud the work that's very important, that's ahead of me in the next few hours, to continue to stand in the way of that terrible efforts by House Democrats to try to hang an obstruction of justice charge on President Trump. Remember, you've got multiple vectors going at the former president to utilize the criminal justice system to exact some sort of revenge against him, maybe stop him from running again in 2024. You've got Cy Vance in New York, you've got the D.C. Attorney General, and now House Democrats trying to serve up a criminal referral to the DOJ based on Don McGahn's testimony. I don't think that will happen. I am very confident that the president did not obstruct justice during the Russia probe, and I'm certain that I have not as well.
Even the Mueller report said that there was no obstruction of justice on behalf of President Trump. And so now I'm troubled by the fact you got White House counsel coming before to basically give testimony before this committee. What happens to attorney-client privilege and all this? I think this sets a very, very dangerous precedent What do you think happens tomorrow? Does he talk? What goes down?
The Mueller investigation already did great violence to the attorney-client privilege. They went through the notes of the White House counsel during a period of time when the president should have been able to rely on their confidential advice. I expect Don McGahn to come in tomorrow and discuss his time serving as White House counsel and the messages that he carried from the White House to the Department of Justice. Now, normally, that is the operations of government. The Department of Justice is not its own branch of government. Sometimes they think they are, but they're actually part of the executive branch. And so Democrats will try to make communications that Don McGahn had with senior leadership at DOJ or Jeff Sessions appear to be criminal in nature or obstructive acts, as the Mueller report lays out. But our position is that that is proper governance. The president was doing everything necessary and proper to protect the presidency as an institution, and the Russia hoax will forever go down in history as a terrible partisan attempt to undo the result of an election that Donald Trump won.
Yeah. Look, they're never going to give up on President Trump. And right now, Matt Gaetz, it doesn't look like they're going to give up on you anytime soon. But I will say this. You stand very firm in the face of all these allegations. You've always been very direct on this program, and I thank you for that. And again, I appreciate you coming on the program. Keep fighting.
Hey, there's a lot of fight left in President Trump, a lot of fight left in me, and this is still a country and a movement worth fighting for with all we have. Thanks for having me, Grant.